We have a bit of a mystery here. I can't get this huge looking generator to make any sounds. It looks like it has its own internal drum sounds with synthesized hi-hats, cowbell and triangle. Then it can access drum kits and wavetable samples and also load in other plugins. But then the only thing in the pattern view that looks like it could control all of these is one note input and an instrument number, and the instruments here aren't even numbered throughout. And no matter what I tried, I haven't been able to get any sound out of it. There is no help file for it, and even more curious, it isn't listed on the current Buzz Machines website that has almost every plugin that's available for Buzz. When I tried to Google it, I got no results. Not even any wrong results, just no results. So this plugin is truly obscure, and it will remain a mystery from now. I might try again when I get to things like aux bus routing, which is indicated here, and MIDI control, which also seems to be included in the plugin. It would be slightly weird if this could only be controlled via MIDI or with an indirect routing, but these are the best ideas that I have right now for potential future testing. If you happen to be a Buzz user and you know anything about this machine, let me know. By the way, there is an official Buzz forum which still looks more or less active, but it seems to be completely closed for new members. Anyway, this is a recreation of the previous session. I had to redo everything because, if you didn't see it, the last session suddenly crashed. Although maybe it didn't look quite as sudden in the video, because that was dropping a lot of frames. Before I watched the video, I initially thought that it was probably the Drum System 100 that crashed when I tried to get it to work, maybe something related to the loading of drum kits. But upon review I noticed that it's possibly the bass plug. This boy is bouncy. I think it has some sort of self-feedback, which is pretty cool, but the downside is that on my machine it has problems with idle time and spirals into a CPU overload sometime after it stops playing. This type of CPU error happens somewhat frequently in Buzz, but typically in effects, such as the EQ7 by Automaton, which is my favorite equalizer. All of this depends on the other plugins here, and possibly on the CPU architecture, the version of Windows and the version of Buzz. On my current computer and in this track, the CPU usage of the EQ7 will spike when the input signal is muted. Luckily, there is usually a very simple fix, which is to add something else in front of it, such as a do-nothing effect. I'm not sure about the code behind it, if there's a non-zero control signal that's reintroduced, or if there are subnormal numbers that do need to be zeroed out. Whatever it is, it can be done this way for the EQ7. The bass plug, however, is not an effect, it's a generator. It doesn't have a sound input, so you can't patch a clean signal into it. This means that the bass plug can never stop playing. It's like speed. If it falls below a certain amplitude, the CPU will explode. Even if I was completely satisfied with the sound of my bass line, I would like to be able to turn it off every once in a while. What I should be able to do is to make it play a pattern that is inaudible but which keeps it busy enough so that it doesn't go into overload. I noticed last time that even notes in a moderate treble range like the 5 octave are already next to an audible. This generator really doesn't let you use it in a register that isn't bass. So I don't even have to touch the volume if I send a high-pitched control signal, which at this frequency would still be very audible. It's the high note of a piano or a piccolo flute, but it's completely obliterated by the extreme filter on this. The output is now just a low-frequency oscillation at like -54 dB. You'd still want to cut this out in a mix or level it even further down, but it should be perfectly fine to work with in a YouTube video that I'm recording in my bedroom. In this video I'm tempting fate. I will continue with the setup that has crashed last week, and I'll add another bass plug, which is here in the sorted list now. This one I'm gonna treat a little differently. It's finally time for the PeerChord. If you haven't kept track of my adventures, these machines up here are all control devices, which means they control other plugins or the sequencer or something, but they don't actually generate sounds despite being listed as generators. So I'm waiting for the right opportunities to add them to a session. Sometimes they need something specific to interact with, as is the case with the PeerChord, which needs a generator to control that has note inputs and is polyphonic. I think I might also have to add the polyphony tracks on the machine, so I'm gonna do that here. The bass plug has 8-track polyphony, so I might as well make them all available. One more step of setup, I'm gonna add the idle pattern for the bass plug again, but this time I'm writing it into the PeerChord, because that's gonna control the bass plug with chord voicings and arpeggios.